Hey, what's going on, everybody? So, today we're going to be bringing you some different kinds of content. So, lately, since I started playing Diablo, I found this guy named DM. I have not supported a content creator like I have supported this guy. I really think that he has great values as a streamer, great values as a content creator, and I love the way that he approaches games and everything like that. So, today we're going to be going over what one of his videos, one of the big controversials of Path of Exiles versus Diablo 4. So let's hop right into it, guys.
Past 2 days, I have put in 20 hours into Path of Exile. This is not enough to fully understand the game, but it is definitely enough to tell you there is some massive differences between this game and Diablo 4. Now, what I said in my review video of Diablo 4, and I do believe
Now, there are a lot of differences, okay? Diablo 4, it starts off a lot slower. Path of Exiles, you do have a big dip.
continues to be the truth is that Diablo 4 is actually a game designed and built around entry-level players into the ARPG genre. I, of which, was one when Diablo 4 came out. I haven't played many ARPGs. Yeah, I played Lost Ark and yeah, I played a little bit of Diablo 2, but I wasn't really like a master blaster through any of the ARPG categories. Which
I was the same way. I never really played Diablo until Diablo 4. I did not play any of the other games, so this is honestly my first ARPG that I've ever played.
fun graph of Diablo 4 looks something like this. You start the game right here. As you are leveling towards level 80, you are having more and more fun with the game. Around level 80, the game starts to get more boring because this is where we just do nightmare dungeons over and over and over again. And then
So I agree with this, but the thing is with me is that I noticed it around level 60. I did not get to level 80. I'm level 62 and I'm already starting to notice the fun is starting to plateau. And then the nightmare dungeons, absolutely, because that's literally all that you have after that point.
game gets way more fun right when you beat Uber Lilith, and then it's right back to grinding nightmare dungeons. So the game is most
Absolutely. I mean, I haven't even beat Uber Lilith, and I'm already noticing. I don't even think that I'm going to make it to Uber Lilith because why do I want to keep just doing a nightmare dungeon after nightmare dungeon? I mean, I know that they did a lot of implementation with the new patch, but they buffed nightmare dungeons, and that's literally what they want you to do all the time.
fun from the level 1 to 80 right here,
Yeah,
and
but it's
that
still
is sort of
60
where
to
the
me.
game peaks. This would make sense because I think right around level 75, 80 is about where most of the average casual players are going to go. It seems like it's targeted to be this way for whatever reason.
Yeah, a lot of people that I played with, they're, dads, they're full-time employees, and they just don't have a lot of time, and they didn't even get to level 80. Like, I'm noticing a lot of the drop-off even at level 50. I have a lot of people that I played with that they literally only got to 50.
I think the whatever reason is money because the majority of players that are going to play these massively marketed games are casual, average, whatever you want to call them, normal people with not a lot of time, like I've said before. So when you're marketing those types of people, it designed the game for those types of people to make the most type of sales, to make the most type of money. Okay, we all probably could have guessed that. For me, the path
I mean, I get it, like Blizzard has to make money in order to keep making new games and keep bringing out more games and stuff like that. But I mean, yeah, I feel like there's a way that they could have made a balance between, hey, casual gamer and like crazy full-time gamer. You know what I mean? Like there could have been a better balance, and I really feel like they screwed it with that. They didn't do it right.
now graph looks very different. It starts like right here. Not very fun at all in the beginning. Gets more and more and more and more fun, and then you hit this portion where you see the skill tree for the first time. Now, if you haven't seen it before and you're just a Diablo
Yeah,
4
I've seen
player, let me actually show
the
you.
Path of
Okay?
Exile skill tree,
Here it
man. Oh my
is.
gosh,
Oh, no,
I've
wait,
seen
that's
so
not
much
it.
on that. Look at
Here
that
it
thing,
is.
man.
Let's scroll all the way out, and you can kind of see.
What is that?
Yep, there is
There's no
quite
way.
a bit to this skill
There's
tree.
no way.
So they hit that point, and then what happens is a good amount of people are going
Boom.
to shoot down in enjoyability. They're not really going to have a good time because they look at it, it feels overwhelming. Now, some of the
Absolutely.
people
That would
might
be
actually
me.
have a split reaction, and the enjoyability goes way more up. But I think a lot of the people that are newer to these types of games are going to look at that, and it's going to feel overwhelming. However,
Absolutely.
Joey, if you push through and you just spend time figuring out and learning the game, it starts to get more and more and more enjoyable.
Yeah, but how many hours do you have to put in before you get to the where if you just push through? You know what I mean? Like how many hours? Why can't they just have a game that is not one way or the other? Why can't they find a happy middle ground?
So instead, what we have is something like this, which is just a steady linear graph of fun as you continue to play through the game. So for Path of Exile, the reason to quit the game is pretty much right in the beginning of the game, whereas in Diablo 4, the reason to quit the game is after a lot of hours already into the game.
Oh,
This
so
means that
okay.
the people that enjoy Path of Exile are people that fairly early decided they like complicated types of games. By the way, I'm having a pretty good time with it. I went in fully blind, and for me, I am able to clear so far. We're going to finish the campaign today, as a matter of fact, so if you want to watch the campaign,
I did join his stream and I watched him beat the campaign. Now the final boss, the Kit Va whatever, the I don't even know the name of it, but I did watch that and it did look like fun, don't get me wrong, but he seemed like he was very confused on if he like his damage, he picked a tank and the damage like he just was barely tickling the thing. So, but it was pretty cool, I won't lie. Like the final boss is pretty cool.
just for me clearing the final bosses. You can join right now as of the posting of this video. I'll have the link in the description or the pinned comment to see that live. But the point being, the Path of Exile players will have decided fairly early whether or not they like this style of game. Where in Diablo 4, you're going to need a pretty good amount of time in the game to decide whether or not it's a good game. So this has a split effect. The Path of Exile people tend to be more core dedicated fan base. You're going to see there's a lot of people that say a lot of good things about Path of Exile to play it. And the Diablo 4 people, by the time they get to the point that decides whether or not they're going to continue to play the game, they will either really, really like it and have a lot of hours into it and are okay with not having the in-game, or they're going to feel cheated by the time they get to the in-game and be mad because they've already got 30, 40 hours or whatever into the game, and then they realize there's not as much left at the end, and now they're...
And that is just sad to me. You know, like, there is so much that Diablo could put into the game. There is so much. I keep talking about the PvP aspect. They could do that. They could have more different kinds of dungeons. They could have different, you know, style of dungeons. They could have different quests. I mean, there's so many things that Diablo 4 could do to make it so much better. And I hate that, like he's saying, Path of Exiles, you find out early. So the player base is going to be very, you know, unique to that. And I hate that, like, oh, if you can't get through the skill tree, then you're just going to stop. And then Diablo, it's like, oh, put in the time, and then you're going to stop. Like, there needs to be a middle ground.
Because they do actually like the game, but there's nothing to continue to like the game about at that point. To put it more simply, Path of Exile takes less time for you to decide whether or not you're into this type of game. Diablo will take a while because it seems like the game is really good for a long time.
It really does.
At the end, you realize, I do really like this game. I want to double down and play even more, but then there's nothing left to do.
Right, what do you do?
Now,
What do
it
you do at
might
the end?
seem, if we're just looking at this
do you do?
graph right here, the Path of Exile, and what I'm saying is the superior, more fun game, but that's actually not quite my point. You see, the drop-off here is actually fairly significant for people in Path of Exile.
Yeah, 'cause you look at that graph and you're like, what
if
is
you are
this?
a hardcore ARPG enjoyer, has a lot more content to do. I don't think anyone could really argue otherwise. However, the mass amount of people that are going to enjoy that style of game as compared to what I believe is a game designed for the average person is very different. The problem therein lies in the actual content itself. Diablo 4 is going to blow up much bigger and die a much quicker death, whereas Path of Exile, that's been out for 10 years, constantly developing content, is a slow, steady growth pattern of people that are choosing to stay in for years and years and years.
Yeah, because they
There's also
dedicated
one
all
other-
their time to getting to understand the build tree. I mean, you're going to need 10 years just to understand that build tree. I mean, it looked ridiculous.
Point to make, if we go back to this graph for a moment, right about here, there is a split dimension in which your enjoyability can go down through the floor. And this is by bricking a character. Now, I am playing the game fully blind. It means I actually don't know any guides. I haven't looked anything up. I'm trying to get an experience of the game from somebody that just would download it on Steam and just play a game because it shows up on the Steam store in order to do these types of videos and give a review of what I believe is like the normal average guy. The problem is the normal average guy in Path of Exile, by the time you get to about this point, will have ruined his character and need to start the loop over again. This is a huge moment in which your enjoyability can go through the floor. This basically forces two things. It forces the types of player that would actually want to min-max builds to be able to accelerate their progress effectively, because they're going to be one of the people that don't brick their characters because they actually are looking into the game to look ahead and figure out what to have happen.
Yeah, I mean, you got to do so many hours of just research with that. And I'm sorry that I switched my camera over. I just realized I was blocking him, so my bad. But yeah, I mean, it's because you got to spend so many hours looking into the build tree.
Portion of this is that dilutes the amount of people on the planet that will enjoy this style of game, because not everyone wants or has the ability to do that in these types of games.
You know, average people like me who have a full-time job, or dads, or, you know, the 30-year-old dude who, or, you know, wife or lady, whatever, who has a full-time job and can't dedicate that much time, they're going to fall off. They're not going to play Path of Exile. The people that you're going to get are the no-lifers that have the time to put in hours and hours and hours.
The overall ceiling in the amount of players for Diablo 4, let's say 4, is going to look like this, where right about here is where the total number of players that are going to play for at any given time would be. But Path of Exile will only ever reach...
Yeah. Oh, dang ad, man. Son of a dang it. Spread your
right about here. One, because D4 was marketed more heavily, therefore going to receive more negative feedback from just more overall people, but also that Path of Exile itself requires a different mentality of game. You can pick up Diablo 4, play it casually for a short amount of time, and have a better experience than someone who does the same amount of research into Path of Exile.
See, and that is what really like made me interested into Diablo, was because I was like, okay, you know, I didn't have a ton of time, and I was able to go in there, get that dopamine hit, and really feel like I was, oh man, my character was hitting the crap out of things, you know, going nuts on everything. And then I hit World Tier 2, and I was like, I'm not really doing as good anymore. But you were able to watch your character progress, and then you started seeing bigger numbers, bigger hits. You started wiping dungeons faster. I mean, someone with just a minimal amount of time, like, that could really just seem like, wow, this is fun. But it's only fun for a certain amount of time.
Quickly into Path of Exile, you will realize you are being punished for not taking the game as a job. So where does that leave us?
Yeah,
well,
nobody wants that.
Basically, the conclusion I've come to is this. If you're the type of person that hops from game to game, likes to try out trending games, does not play the ARPG genre solely, and is somebody who just wants to see what the latest thing is, try Diablo 4. You're going to get your money's worth out of the game.
No, I agree with that, you know, because, you know, you spend $70, $100, whatever it was, and you're going to get, you know, what, 40, 50, maybe even 60 hours. If you're really going hardcore and you haven't fallen off yet, you could really probably push 100 hours on Diablo. So I really do feel like you do get your money's worth. I just think that the longevity of the game just isn't really there.
$70, and you will get probably 30 or 40 hours of good enjoyability out of it. You can stretch it out to 100, and then at that point you have received your money's worth. Diablo 4 will probably not be the game for you that is going to be your main game that you play for years straight. Maybe they'll save it with the new seasons. I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But what I will tell you...
See, but I'm worried with the new seasons. Like, I feel like too many people have already dropped off, and by the time the new season comes out, is there going to be anybody left to even want to try the new season? I really feel like the game's going to go downhill, and the new season probably is not going to help anything.
Is that Diablo 4 is probably a temporary game that is enjoyable for a certain time span. Path of Exile is a different type of breed. It is the type of game that the longer you spend in it, the more you get into the community, the more and more you get into min-maxing. And if you're the type of person that doesn't want to put 100 or 200 hours, you want to put 1,000 or 2,000 hours into a game, then Path of Exile...
Chat, that's a lot of hours, man.
...is for you. Or if you are an ARPG enjoyer that wants to just go absolutely crazy in these types of games, or feel like you're the only one on the planet that has your build, that is Path of Exile. But again, it's going to require much more time, much more dedication, many more hours to get that max enjoyability out of it. They're different types of games in
Yeah.
the same genre, but they appeal to different people, which is,
Yeah.
I believe, why we see such a large amount of arguments between PoE greater than D4, D4 greater than PoE. They're offering different products for different type of game enjoyers, and I think that's okay.
You know, it really is okay. You know, there's nothing wrong with that. It really is okay. I really enjoyed this. DM, you the man. If for some reason you end up seeing this, I fucking love you, dude. I love the kind of content that you bring to the table. It really is enjoyable to me how you are able to bring as much non-biased, as you can. And I really appreciate what you do, brother. And hopefully you keep it going. So, all right, guys, if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more like this, please hit the like button, hit that follow button, hit the notification bell, and leave me a comment, guys. I love you all. Have a great rest of your day. Let's go get it.